I used to make maps for TF2, and people used to play them, and they were not good, which is exactly why I make this video. By looking at these maps, we can see and understand what's wrong with them and get a better understanding of how to make good maps and better game design overall. And if my heavy accent is hard to understand, I provide captions. In this video, I'll show you a map with the most potential of all maps I've made. In fact, it has so much potential I'm slowly doing a remake of this map, but now with years of indie game dev experience. And I'll probably make a video once that remake is done. Welcome to 2TPL Mine, a map built around its central gimmick. Both teams push the same bomb cart towards the enemy base. Sounds like the payload race, except it started before the payload race. Yes, it's that old. And it wasn't changed to the payload race later, because having just one bomb cart both teams push back and forth on a small map creates a unique dynamic. Other mirrored game modes such as CP5 and CTF have a problem of an objective being way too far into the enemy's base. It makes it very hard to capture and causes both teams to stale at their own bases. On King of the Hill maps, everything except the control point is pretty much irrelevant. On this map, the objective you have to capture is always accessible by both teams, and the effective combat zone is pretty much the entire map. Alright, let's move on to the mistakes. The first mistake is that this map is very linear. To make this point, let's go back in time to the first version. The very first version. Actually, it looks better than I remember it. I mean, it doesn't look good, but I've at least tried to detail it. This plank over here is actually a very nice detail I forgot in the upcoming version. It's important because a straight bridge isn't nice to approach from an angle. You'll either have to move sideways to ensure you are standing on the bridge, or you go forward from an angle and risk falling down. As I've said, there was only one route from one base to the other. One narrow route. And there was always a sentry at the next corner. This map layout completely invalidated scouts, pyros, and heavies. And spies. You see, it's not enough for a spy to get behind his opponents. He really prefers killing people when they're alone, because if you kill someone in the middle of a crowd, you'll get reported and voted out immediately. Wait, that's the wrong game. And snipers didn't really have a safe place outside their base. So I've made a new version. I've added this balcony for snipers and the second floor on the central building also for snipers. And for teleporters. And I've allowed soldiers and demos to jump on top of this building. So, if in the previous version there were two high grounds exclusive for them, now you could jump above the entire map, spamming everyone with rockets and stickies. For some reason, TF2 doesn't have working ladders, but there is a workaround. If you have a stair with one hammer unit-wide steps, as long as each step isn't higher than 16 units, you'll zoom upward if you walk on it. But there is an issue. Players in TF2 don't expect ladders to actually function as ladders, because vanilla TF2 uses ladders as useless decoration all the time. And I've also added this. This is the dumbest game design decision I have ever made. I used to play this map on a server with instant respawn, which made pushing the minecart to the end nearly impossible. So, to fix this and enforce the respawn timer even on servers with instant respawn, I've added this door. On the second floor of the central building, I wanted a one-way door that would allow you to get out, but wouldn't allow enemies to get in. Having a regular trigger box wouldn't cut it, because we don't want a sniper to accidentally keep the door open. So, I've added a button you have to shoot to open the door. yeah, it doesn't look like a button, and people didn't recognize it as such, and it went unused. So it effectively didn't work. And in the end, I've just made a regular but smaller trigger instead. I've made the next version. At that point, I knew that the side routes were in order, but I didn't really put that much thought into making them right. I've made an extra corridor here from a sniper nest down onto the main ramp. But it's kinda useless, because it leads to the very same place as the main exit, and the very same enemies shooting the main choke point can easily spot you shooting from there. This route is even worse in fact, because it has a one-way door, which effectively leaves you in a dead end. Then I've added an out-of-place basement below the central building. First, the way you get there doesn't make any in-world sense. Now I think of it, the entire map doesn't make any in-world sense. Second, which class and in which case is going to use this place? It can't be a spy because you will inevitably bump into an opponent with nowhere to escape. It can't be anyone, really, because playtests have shown that the central point is always under someone's control and you're likely to die far before you reach the doorway. The frontier line you need a way around is somewhere around here, because this is where the one team is going to be standing, and this is where another team is going to be standing. So, I've added a pathway that goes all the way up, and then down from this balcony. This is a path to certain death. Remember that dumb door that's supposed to fix the instant respawn? I've received a lot of complaints about it, but instead of removing it, I've done this. This supposed to make it more forgiving. Why did I think it's a good idea? But at least I've made a secondary exit from the spawn so that you aren't spawn camped by a single demo so easily. I even knew that is an issue. I knew that is going to be an issue from the very start. But I did nothing to prevent it. I used to put a lot of Easter eggs in my maps. This one, for example, I have helped the creator of the Guardian Dog Fake update, you know the one, with his sentry gun for the polycount contest. That contest resulted in the Manconomy update. And no new sentries to be seen. And this is where I've got this lovely pin from. But here's my advice. Don't put Easter eggs like this in your maps or games. It's cringe, and it increases the map size. Speaking of increasing the map size, I wanted to edit the text of signs, so I used to overwrite vanilla textures by packaging the replacement textures into the map. What I didn't know about is that it has to be the very first map you play after you launch the game to make it work. Another big mistake. This map is very dark. While most things are still quite visible in most cases, recognizing shapes and objects under dim lighting is very taxing on your brain. You will just get tired without understanding why. So, even if a map or game you make is a night themed, make sure it's lit well. This is not how you do it. Next version, the final one so far. I've updated the visuals of this basement room. It looks better, but it still makes no sense. In a real world, every single room has its purpose. You wouldn't just waste valuable indoor space. This room has no in-world purpose. And I finally removed this stupid door, because the real problem isn't people respawning too quickly, it's not being able to score the objective. This is why I've added an additional gameplay mechanic. When you lose the control point, a King of the Hill timer kicks in, and if the minecart will spend 3 minutes in total past this point, the defending team will lose. This means the real objective isn't to defend your base, but to push the cart past this corner in particular. And one final mistake of this map. Optimization, or lack thereof. Simply because of how open this map is, you can see the entire map from pretty much anywhere on the map. I haven't heard many complaints about performance, Probably because TF2 is a very old game that used to run on potatoes when this map was in play. If you wanna take a look at all 4 versions of this map in person, you can find them in the description. In the next video I'm going to show you at least 3 more maps I've made. Maybe more.